There's no 2 or 1. No. All right. So welcome to Open Caller. I'm Corey Bullis alongside Michelle Sheth. Ryan Karkner is on assignment.
On
In
location.
on location, Smith Falls. Coming at you, not live because he's not here. So rather than get into a LeBron MJ debate, we'll just forego that and talk a little ice hockey.
Ice hockey.
So the unthinkable has happened. The 500-1 odd maker Vegas Golden Knights.
No loss.
No loss.
No loss.
Are gonna go for Stanley Cup.
In their first season.
First season ever.
So
I saw an article today that said they're the best expansion franchise in the history of sports ever.
If they win, or regardless,
just in general, from looking at how they started and where they are now, I think win or lose, best one ever. That's what they say.
So they say.
So they say.
So if you're Vegas, if you're on the team or you're part of management or ownership or even just a fan of Vegas, is getting to the finals, like, is that a successful season? Or, let's say you get really close. You get to game 7, it goes into double overtime, and you miss out the cup by 1 goal because Washington scores it in, double overtime. Are you happy that it got to that point, or are you, obviously you're disappointed that you lost, but do you consider the season almost like a lost season because you were right there and you didn't get the cup?
Personally, I think in that situation, it'd be a bit of both.
Right. Like, as a player, I think I would just be. They're obviously.
So my comment's more geared towards the fans, not so much a player.
Yeah. Oh, I think as a fan, you would have to just. There's so many people that are, all in on Vegas now. The bandwagon is very full of people, and I think, yeah, win or lose, everyone's going to be happy with how far Vegas got and how well they played, not just playoffs but all season. And like, they never really had a bad streak of, like, even 10 games where they just had like we just had a bad streak or whatever. It's just from the get-go they were on a run. They started the season off well, they played the middle of the season well, and they finished off strong.
I think their bad streak consisted of losing goalies.
Yeah.
It was probably like 5 or 6 goalies in a row that went down.
Yeah. But
yeah, not in terms of a losing streak, no.
No. And so they never really had a down time, like down part of the season. And I think that's crazy because, like, even the best teams, did Washington win the President's Trophy again?
No, that was Nashville. And then in the East, it was Tampa. Or was it the other way around? Was the President's Trophy winners Tampa, but Nashville finished first in the West?
Yeah. But like, even then, I'm sure they had 3-4 game losing streak, like just little ruts that it never seemed like Vegas had. And it might just be because no one expected them to do so well anyway. So if they did lose 3 games in a row, they were like, oh, well, that's okay. It's their first season. They're just happy to be competing. And then they, competed the hell out of the playoffs.
Being told by our stats guy, Nashville was first overall, then Winnipeg, Tampa was third.
Then Winnipeg. Wow.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Nashville, Winnipeg, Tampa, Boston, Vegas. And then Washington. Those are top 5.
Vegas. I'd say, yeah, I'm in the boat where basically just having a over 500 season and making playoffs is a good starting point for first season. You know, I would have been very happy with just that, and then everything else is a bonus. And if they can get the cup, like that's just insane.
Well, I feel like as a maybe as a just bias given what happened 2 seasons ago with the home team, and then this past season with the home team, getting that close and then not getting there or not winning it, and then everything falls off the rails and you don't even make the playoffs, and
Yeah.
like they may never get there again. So maybe again, the disappointment falls under the we were there, we were so close, but we didn't get it done. This may never happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
disappointment.
I feel like that is kind of a
Because it's not like the NBA where it's the same 2, 3 teams every year.
yeah. I think that kind of disappointment will come if it happens. Let's say will be more of a overtime thing, right? Like 3, 4, 5 seasons down the road, if they can't make it back or they can't even get close, if they don't make playoffs next year or the year after that and the year after that, then they can be like, man, we were right there, we lost our chance.
Well, they could end up being just like Washington, who was they're there now, first time in 20 years, and look how many times they finished first or
Yeah,
first
exactly.
overall, don't get past the second round. That could be Vegas.
Exactly.
That could be Seattle.
So then my next question is, who do you want to win? Vegas or
I want Ovi to get it.
Right? That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Because he's like I don't want him to end up in the group of amazing players that never won a cup. You know,
Right.
it's a pretty big group, and I don't think that he deserves to be in it. You know, Alfie Sundin, like there's so many players that just for whatever reason, the circumstance, being on a bad team at the time, or just missing out on that one chance that they had while they were on a great team, um, or even someone like Sundin who was pretty much done with Toronto and went to chase a cup in Vancouver and didn't get it, and then it's getting to the point where Ovi can't keep playing the way he does because
No.
he plays pretty hard. He
Yeah.
plays like crazy hard all the time, and yeah, I'm on the I want Washington to win only because I think Ovechkin deserves to have a cup with his name on it, and Vegas as a team. Hopefully, this isn't just a Cinderella story that's a one time situation,
One hit
and
wonder.
hopefully they can come back because I think that in the next say 5 years, Vegas has a better chance of getting this far than Ovi does to try again.
I would think if the Capitals do lose and Ovechkin's on that list, unfortunately, I think he would be the greatest player to never win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, he's so good, and he's just been for not for whatever reason, but I mean he's always running into Pittsburgh, and finally getting past them is great. But at that point, you got to just be like, hey, well, it's almost not worth it if you don't win the cup, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure.
And, I mean, it's going to be tough because, like, uh, if I'm not mistaken, this is Fleury's third trip to the finals in a row, right? Because he won.
Yeah, because
So
Murray was number one the 2 times that they won.
But he was still
Yeah, he was there,
right? So
warming up that bench.
Yeah. So like and he's been playing crazy good. I'm really excited for this because everyone's come in. Both teams are coming in hot. Washington just coming off of being down 3-2 and then getting 2 shutouts.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That's a
and hope he never got a shutout all season.
Yeah, and then when he
Two,
needed to
yeah.
when he needed to play, or when it was a must-win situation, he didn't let anything in. and like that's the kind of momentum you want going into a finals situation. So
For sure.
goalies are going to be a huge thing, and
I was listening
I
to
mean
another
this.
podcast that they said that's like the clear, like
Oh, excuse
the
me. You
biggest
listen to
cliche,
other podcasts?
and it's prep work for this one.
Is it
Um,
okay?
they said,
That's
yeah,
how you're gonna. Okay.
this time of year, that's like the biggest cliche is what they say. It's the go-to line is what's gonna be the difference maker in the series. It all comes down to goaltending.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely true. And the other thing about Holtby getting two shutouts is he shut down. Ovechkin is probably the most like the best scorer in the game right now. Um, but having Stamkos on Tampa Bay not get anything in the last two games when all he needed to do was score a couple, even one would have gotten the team pumped up. But to stop Stamkos, like I think that's a huge achievement, and then to stop the rest of the team.
Yeah, then highest scoring offense in the league this year.
Yeah, exactly. And for the past few years, it's been Tampa and Washington. So
Yeah, those two battle for first of the East for the last few years for sure.
yeah, so that would have been a fun finals if it ever, that would have been a great way to end it. But I think Washington Vegas is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I was saying to a guy who worked that for the NHL standpoint, I'm sure Tampa and Vegas would have been the worst possible outcome to
Yeah,
have in terms of ratings.
yeah, absolutely.
This one will probably will take a hit because again, it's because of Vegas, but I'm sure people want to just check it out too.
Yeah,
I don't know how big the viewership is in the DC area. They're all
I
too busy
also
watching Fox News.
I also think that a lot of people like you said early on, 500 to 1 odds, and I'm sure lots of people bet on that. So there's going to be um, some people watching just to see if they're going to get a huge cash out or not.
The cheddar, cash out that cheddar, the tuna.
Tuna?
Big tuna. You seeing any of the NBA finals?
Yes,
Looks like we might have our dream matchup of Houston and the Celtics.
that would be amazing.
Go home Curry, go home LeBron.
Although as much as I love Curry, I love Durant. Um,
Let's get some new blood.
most of yeah, exactly. Well, most of the Washington team, also just Steve Kerr is so great. I've liked him since the Bulls days. But yeah, I'm ready to see someone other than uh, LeBron and Curry in the finals.
I think it's just better for the league as a whole.
Absolutely. And honestly, like again, Harden is one of those guys that I want to see him win a championship. If Houston makes it, like they're going to be the team I'm cheering on for sure. Yeah, I'm just going to be cheering on the West anyway. So whoever makes it from the West, that's the team I'm going to be cheering for. But I'm as much as I like the Warriors and then as much as I like most of the players on the team and the coach, I want Harden to be the one that wins it this year.
Well, plus as growing up as a Laker fan, you have to hate the Celtics.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm not gonna be going for any.
That's an easy one anyway.
But speaking of Steve Kerr, did you hear his comments about the NFL's anthem?
You know what? I just before we started here, I saw a thing about it and I didn't really get a chance to read it. But so what was it?
It's just essentially just going after the NFL for like caving to the pressure and just basically disrespecting their players for instituting this rule and missing the whole point that this kneeling has nothing to do with the anthem, nothing to do with the flag, has everything to do with like equality, right?
Yeah,
Like,
representation.
and for a lot of people to say too, like what was getting left out of all this is that when Kaepernick was like first was going to protest, like they told him the most respectful thing you can do is kneel during the national anthem or in direction of the flag. Like they said he was told, and it was brought up when this first happened, was that was the most respectful thing you can do to protest during that. But at the same time, no one talks about the fact that when the anthem's going on, you can probably attest to this when you're at games, is people are on their phones, they're chatting, they're going to get their beers, they're in the washroom, they're doing everything doing everything but stand there and listen and pay their respect to their country's anthem and flag. So ultimately, does it just come down to that we're talking about people who are of color? At the end of the day, that's probably that's all it is.
And like, yeah, he could have done a lot worse things, like a lot worse things. And
just hucking footballs at it, throwing spirals at the flag.
You know, he could have been not even leaning, but just sitting on his bench, on his phone, you know, having some Gatorade or whatever. But he wasn't doing any of that. He's just kneeling instead of standing, which really shouldn't be that big of a deal.
But instead, you can stay in the locker room.
Yeah. Just don't let anyone see what you're doing.
I was talking to a guy working, saying when this came out, is like, why not just not televise that portion of the games? I think in the States, when you're watching like a hockey game, they do like they show the skyline of the city. They cut back, the anthem's over, the guys are getting ready to drop the puck. Like, why does that have to be televised for football or any sport, really?
Or any sport,
exactly. If you're gonna have it, just nip it at the bud, and then there you go. It's the only people you're affecting are the people who are attending the events.
Yeah, and again, like you said, a lot of them aren't even paying attention during that part anyway.
Yeah, so like, yeah,
that would be a pretty easy like solution to it.
Yeah, well, if it's a big deal, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to stop, scanning tickets during that time if people are coming late. You got to stop selling tickets if people are coming late. You got to stop serving beer. You got to close the washrooms. Everyone has to stop and stand. Like back when you're in high school or elementary school, if the anthem goes on, you got to stop wherever you are and while that's going on until it's over.
Exactly.
Trump. Well, that's what it comes down to, right? But enough of that nonsense. Well, actually, here's some bigger nonsense. I don't know if you saw this.
I love nonsense.
You see, Fox gave the WWE $1 billion for their SmackDown show.
No, what?
So I guess their contract's up with USA Network. So and if that Disney and Fox deal goes through, they're going to lose basically all their shows, and they're going to be, I think, just basically sports and reality type shows on the network. And so they're trying to stockpile things. And yeah, I saw this on the score, is that they're for over 5 years, they'll give the WWE $1 billion to air their SmackDown on, I think, Friday nights. Wow. I was thinking, like, it's the WWE. Like, how it's not the 80s anymore. Like, who watches that stuff still? Like, in this day and age.
I think it's a like super small fan base now.
And think of it. What it was. The Rogers paid $5 billion for the NHL, and these guys are getting $1 billion for one program that airs once a week.
Wow. That is, that's nonsense. For me.
Yeah, I know they're taking a hit for losing the UFC, but still, yeah, I couldn't believe that.
I'm sure there can be like some sort of other.
I know you're thinking show. Slam Ball needs to come back.
It does. That would be amazing.
You remember that? Watching that?
I can achieve my dreams.
Just trampoline dunks.
Yeah.
I remember that when it was on was it TNN before it became Spike?
Yeah, that's right. That was like I couldn't believe how much fun, how fun that looked, but also like I've tried dunking off a trampoline, and like it's not that easy. It's not as easy as just like being, that high in the air.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun trying.
I think the only time I've ever was able to dunk anything, it's going to sound embarrassing, it was when I used to do my co-op placement at my old elementary school. So basically we're talking kid nets, but still proud.
I
just count it. Slam a jamma. Bring in the heat.
I hooked up my SNES Classic.
Yeah.
A couple days ago, and threw on NBA Jam Tournament Edition, and it was so much fun. And I forgot how to play, so I was so bad at first. But a few games in,
Yeah.
everything came back, and like that's a fun game.
Yeah.
I don't care how long it's been. Uh, that's a game that I'm gonna be revisiting often. And like
I'm
going
trying to remember
through it,
which
I'm like,
edition that was. Is that where you could like make your players like aliens and stuff in it, or is that the one before that?
that was the one on Nintendo 64.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, where yeah
Maybe make your guys and
you
stuff.
could have the aliens and you can have like the mini guy and all that kind of stuff. It was basically the same
The
game,
mini guy.
but
You're just referring to Muggsy Bugs.
yeah, Bugsy but yeah, that was on the 64. I forget what it was called. It wasn't called NBA Jam, but it was a very like almost the exact same game, 2-on-2. Uh, you know, three in a row, and you're on fire, and power ups, and all that kind
NBA
of stuff.
Jam '99 is what she was called.
Was it? It was an NBA Jam game.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
Oh,
believe so. That was the last one that was on 64. Obviously.
yeah, it must be. I did hear things
Oh, that was
going.
5-on-5.
No,
So no,
that was
that
not
was
that
that one.
game.
No, no.
No.
That
I rumors are really ramping up about a N64 Classic again.
I'll give you my credit card now.
Absolutely, 100%. That's going to be a day one purchase for me. If that comes out, I'm going to be all over that. With
Are you concerned with the flip side or the B side to that rumor is that but the problems with licensing because like half of those companies are gone now, like THQ and Rare's I think exclusive with like Microsoft or something now.
yeah, I think I saw that.
So like
With like actually securing games for the
yeah,
console.
because outside of Nintendo's like obviously I know Rare did Donkey Kong, which you'll get obviously because of Nintendo,
Yeah.
but like GoldenEye and I think 1080.
1080.
Yeah.
uh, I I would say
It's hard to think of what's a Nintendo exclusive title outside of Mario Kart, Star Fox, Mario Party that would be
Super
like
Smash.
yeah, like that you're gonna want to sink your teeth into it.
I would say that the games like other than those ones that you just said, the games that I would want are GoldenEye for sure.
Mhm.
Um,
I don't think you can have
this
it without GoldenEye.
this NBA game that we can't remember the name of, Cruisin' USA. I used to really like
Yes.
Cruisin' USA, so that one. And then I think there was a Ken Griffey's home run derby situation, or maybe it was just a full out baseball game, but I only played the home run derby competition of it because
Dingers.
dingers. That's right.
And then you need
Um,
Mario Tennis, Mario Golf,
yeah, like
Diddy Kong Racing.
so then I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this on here, but like honestly, it's not going to make that huge of a difference for me because uh, I'm sure that shortly after it comes out, people will figure out a way to load on emulated games because that's basically what Nintendo's doing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So then at that point, I'm likely not going to care because I'll still be able to have those games.
Yeah, no,
You
for
know,
sure. Yeah, I guess it's kind of
the
moot.
legality of that is up for grabs. But um, I think that it's still going to be, even if let's say I don't get those, if I don't get GoldenEye, just having say like Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Mario Party, Super Smash, and
Mario
Donkey
Party?
Kong. Yeah, and Mario Party and Donkey Kong. Like, I think that in itself would be enough, to justify the purchase,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything else would be a nice bonus on top, and hopefully the hacking community lets the rest of it happen.
What was it Wave Race?
Yes, yeah, that was a good one. That was fun.
Wheel of
That's
Fortune.
yeah. All right, I'll give you that one. Fine.
They're really scraping for titles.
Yeah.
That and Paper Mario, and it's just called Mario
What
64
was
console.
what was the game where that may have been on Nintendo, Super Nintendo, where you like Mario Music or whatever, or you make your own
Uh,
soundtracks.
yeah, I remember what you're
That's
talking about. I used to have that because you can do that. You can there was like you
you can
can
like make
paint
your own
and
music.
yeah, drawings
Yeah,
and stuff.
but that had a special controller for it, right? Like it had
Yeah, it
a
had like it was like a pad and a pen.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like those games, while very fun and stuff, I wouldn't mind if they're not there because whatever. The thing I'm like, I really like the Nintendo 64 controller. I know a lot of people didn't
Yes.
like it, but I thought that having holding it with the D-pad and the buttons or the joystick and the buttons and having that
Mhm.
option was amazing. Um,
And the trigger.
obviously, yeah,
Is
obviously
that trigger?
the new controllers now have you know both the D-pad and the joysticks and everything, but I thought that controller was, first of all, it was different and cool. Uh,
Yeah, it
but
was
I thought
massive when you first
like
saw it.
yeah, I thought it was still like just very functional and like perfect for the system because there was usually when something like that comes out, there's like 4 or 5 games that initially embrace it, and
Hmm.
then the rest of them just go back to all right, D-pad and buttons, and so
Yeah.
you're back to just holding, and then you have this like third leg just kind of sticking out there.
Yeah, I think those are usually
Um,
like the sports games that default back to the D pad.
yeah, um, but I found that yeah, with the 64, there was lots of games that used both if you wanted, or one time like one game might be using the joystick, the other game might be using the D-pad, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. So yes, if that ever comes out, which I don't know, they've been doing Christmassy time releases for the NES and the Super NES, I think. So maybe this Christmas we'll have the N64 Classic or whatever they decide to call it.
They get
But
ship if they do it. They ship with 2 controllers because that'd be a big box.
yeah,
Because they're not going to give you 4.
no, but 2 for sure, and then they'll probably sell the other. I mean, so the
It was NBA Hang Time.
yes, that's the one. Hang time. That was it.
That's the one.
That's the
Yeah.
game I want. Um, but like the NES Classic was what? It was like 80 or something. I believe that was
Yeah.
80,
It's like
and
60 in the
then
States, and then
yeah, 60, and then 80, and then I think the SNES Classic was 90.
yeah.
So yeah, this I mean, it's probably going to be in the $100 to $120 range. And if they can do 30 games again, or even like 20 games, I think it'll be worth it, even if 5 of those games are any of the ones that we mentioned.
I will take 2. You need one for upstairs, one for downstairs.
Exactly.
Maybe 3, one to travel.
Well, yeah, that one just stays in your bag. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jeez, it's so good.
so good.
That's the problem with like with technology. They keep advancing things, and but really when it comes down to it, the classics were better.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if that's just because we played them for so long, but
Well, I think just like things were
I
made more
would
simple
say,
that you enjoyed it more. Like that,
well,
I
yeah,
think I
like
find games now are more convoluted than they ever before.
absolutely. And there's
Like that's why Mario's still timeless. Like it's still a simple story. Mechanics are simple. It's just like okay, yeah, it's advancing
more
into the new systems,
interesting.
but again, it's at the core of it. It's the same character doing the same thing, and anyone can pick it up. You can put it down, and you're not really
Well, that's what
like
was
so far
weird
behind.
about. Well, so having played Mario since Nintendo,
Neighbor.
um, I never had the Wii,
Hmm.
but I was able to pick up, my cousin's Wii Mario game, and they're, 3 worlds in and whatever it was. And as long as I knew what jump was and what like speed boost
Yeah.
button was, and then what fired, the fireballs or the
Yeah.
shells. That's pretty much all the other extra things about jumping and floating and flying and all that stuff. Like I never needed those,
No.
and I was able to just pick up the controller and all my cousins, when they were growing up, and if they couldn't beat a level, I could at least get a little bit closer or get past the point where they kept on dying or whatever. And not because I had played the game and was so good at it, but because the game essentially was the same.
Hmm.
They added a few new mechanics and uh, a few new monsters and stuff like that, but essentially the game's the same. And it's the same with when we got Super Mario Odyssey. I mean, the game essentially is Mario 64,
Yeah. I was just gonna say.
uh, with like the whole 3D ness of it and the semi open world.
Hmm.
But then, you just have little things that I think we talked about it before, but having things like cap jumps and stuff that I never even bothered to do
Right.
the entire
Unless
time
you
I
need
played.
to.
Yeah, unless I needed to, I was like, oh, whatever, I'll find another way up, or I'll, figure this out a different way just by using running, jumping, and triple jumping. Triple jumping's the one.
Not double
Uh,
jumping. You
yeah,
just bypass that. You don't need that.
no,
You
just
jump
triple
or you
jumping.
triple jump.
Uh, but yeah, like that's the best part about that game is the first time I turned it on, there's no learning curve.
Right.
It's you just kind of go and you play like you've always played a Mario game. And if you have never played a Mario game, they walk you through it, and it's great. But yeah, I think you're right about simple games earlier were also just like the controllers. On the Nintendo, you had A, B, start, select,
Yeah.
and you could do everything that you needed to do with those buttons. And then it's like every time a console came out, the new controller had at least one or two extra buttons on top of that and on top of that, and then it was like the difference of playing Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo versus playing Mortal Kombat on uh, even on the Sega Genesis. So
Yeah.
having 4 controllers versus 6 controllers, 4 buttons versus 6 buttons,
Hmm.
and then you had like one button was high kick, low kick,
Yeah.
low punch, high block, low block, and it's like that was all I need to know is, you know, get over here and
It's
get over here.
true.
I just need to know get over here, uppercut, and sweep the leg.
Yeah.
After that, after that, I didn't care about what other buttons did.
Well, it's like when you got first introduced to the PlayStation with two joysticks.
Oh yeah, that was
Okay, like there's two joysticks and four trigger buttons at the top.
yeah, 2 joysticks, a D-pad, 4 trigger buttons, and 4 circle
Yeah.
buttons.
And then when the Xbox came out, and then you had the joysticks on different
Separate side, yeah, up,
separate sides, and
down.
one was up and one was down.
Yeah, that's right.
And then with the D-pad next to the one.
And
Yeah.
then also 4 triggers.
Yeah. I never played the GameCube, but that controller looked interesting.
Yeah, the GameCube controller was like it was an iteration of the 64 one,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I didn't play a lot of GameCube. Um,
That's the one
my
Nintendo console I never had.
yeah, my roommate
Well, and the
uh,
Wii U.
my roommate in university had one, and we had a lot of Mario Party sessions. I think
Mhm.
that's I played Mario Party and some sort of golfing game. I assume it was a Tiger Woods, 2011
Likely, yeah.
game. I think those are the only 2 games I played on it for kind of like an extended period of time. Um, but yeah, it was. I didn't think it was as comfortable or as
Yeah.
like what's the word ergonomic as the 64 controller, but it was still pretty neat. It's because it was like it was kind of like a normal controller. I don't even know if I have one here. Okay,
Cut to
so
commercial.
yeah, so it was like the regular kind of controller. So this is pretty
Yeah,
much a
so that almost
circular.
looks like what the
So it
original
has
Xbox controller was,
yeah.
save for
So
a couple triggers.
so this yeah this is the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and it's basically the Xbox controller and the PlayStation 4 controller mashed into one with triggers, two D pads, and whatever. And the GameCube controller was similar to this, except it had like weird little loops
Yeah, like they stuck out
that were
at the bottom.
like that didn't do anything. They were just there to like make it look different.
Yeah,
And that was the that was it was a weird looking controller, and for some reason those those things that were sticking out here were the things that made it just a little bit less comfortable than the also weird looking 64 controller.
hmm
But at least that was functional.
yeah. No one likes things sticking out, making things uncomfortable.
No, that's not. Ugh, that's,
Yeah, put the mouse back in the house.
that's a family restaurant.
It's a family podcast. uh, Jeez. You see that thing about Chrome dropping the HTTPS in September?
Yes, but it's just making everything secure, right?
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it's if it's secure, we're not going to tell you it's secure, but if it's not secure,
We will
we'll let you know.
with
Like
a
the,
with a
it's the
broken
opposite.
lock. I think it's gonna be like it's. I
Yeah,
don't think it's gonna.
does it
It's
matter
not
at the
gonna.
end of the day?
Yeah, it's not gonna affect anything really. Um, I mean, I guess all it will do, and it'll be a good thing if it works. But it's going to make websites, you know, do what they need to do to make sure that they're not going to get a this is an unsecure page little lock icon at the in the URL box.
Yeah,
Um, and if that's all it does, then great. But I would say the majority of everything that most people go to is already at HTTPS. So, like, I don't think it's going to change anyone's browsing habits if people even notice it at all.
yeah. Like I think Chrome right now just says secure in the corner. But yeah, rather than have HTTPS // it'll just be you know
Like,
google.com or
yeah,
.ca or whatever.
it's one of those things where it's like, why even display that part? Even
Yeah,
the
it's
even
yeah.
the www,
I was just gonna say
yeah, like how long has it been since you actually typed in www into a website or a URL box?
it was probably the same time I typed in AOL keyword.
Classic AOL.
Yeah, no. When I found out you never had to do it, I stopped doing
Oh
it.
yeah, it was the best thing not hitting it.
It's funny to hear like when you're doing like when I was doing customer service before is when you tell someone to go okay just go to the website okay yeah so I'm on there it's www dot Ottawa Senators like no just you don't need the W's
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Ottawa you don't need Ottawa.
Just ottawasenators.com. Like it's stuff like that is that's essentially what this is going to be, right? With the HTTPS is you don't need to write it, so they don't need to do anything about it.
Yeah, plus like most people are surfing on their phones anyway.
Yeah,
And like the links that they're getting are from whatever social media account they're using, so they're not even typing it out anyway.
exactly.
It's like it's hard to think in this day and age. It's easier to look up like the person who shared whatever to get the link than rather than just do a Google search.
Yeah, because you
Oh,
don't
I was
know.
reading this article. Yeah, well, my buddy posted it. Let me look him up.
Let me find it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Stupid algorithm. Let me go most recent. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Oh, here it is.
I did hear that Instagram is adding in a feature. I don't know. It's not a bug, but
Sure.
basically It is going to, so it's still gonna, do the algorithm. So it's nothing's gonna be in order, which is super annoying still. But if you scroll long enough, you'll eventually get to a point where it says you've seen all the posts in the last 48 hours or whatever,
Hmm.
and then you can continue to scroll, but it will at least tell you, like, all right, you scrolled through 2 days worth of stuff. You're probably not missing anything else. You probably saw everything before that.
Go
Um,
outside, get off
yeah,
the couch.
I think that's a really good way to say, you know, I think it's a really good, because remember when we used to play Wii Sports and all that kind of stuff, and then that thing that would be like, "Hey, why don't you take a break and go outside?" Like that
Yeah.
was really, we were
Get
like,
off the
"No,
couch,
yeah,"
fatty.
we were like, "No, screw you, Wii. I tell you when I'm done."
Yeah.
Um,
My arm is not killing me yet.
yeah, this being like, "Hey, you've seen all the posts in the last 2 days," is a really like good way to essentially say, "Yo, maybe get off Instagram for a little while," without actually saying, "Hey, it's time to get off Instagram."
Hey, check out that sunshine.
Global warming, America.
Exactly. No, I didn't see that one, but I still don't think that'll get me to go back and actually look at Instagram.
Yeah, I scroll through, um, not I scroll through, and I don't know, maybe like three or four like thumb flicks up
Yeah.
is about as far as I go. Um,
I do it, then I stop and say, "Oh, this is like, oh wait, this is from 3 weeks ago, and it's number two."
yeah.
So
Um,
clearly, it shouldn't be the most important thing I need to see.
all right. Can I? Okay, let's talk about Twitter for a second.
Uh-oh, things are about to
So
get real.
things are yeah. So do you use Twitter for iOS? Use like
Yes,
the
that is
the
correct, sir.
Twitter app. Okay, so that one has algorithmic sorting and hey, this is what you may have missed,
Yeah,
and tweets,
tweets
out
by
of
Dre.
order, right? Um, and then they've like basically in the last 4 or 5 years have been doing everything they can to make it harder for a third party Twitter client to succeed,
Hmm.
right? So uh, they have token limits, which is, when a new Twitter app gets on, the Play Store or the App Store, they are allowed to have X number of new users,
And isn't it like
tweet.
ridiculously small? Like I remember, like was
It's
it
like
not the Black Days or Twitterific or whatever? I remember someone had it was like 300 or something like that, and then they're
no, it's like it's up there. It's in the at least thousands or tens
3,000
of
maybe.
thousands. Yeah, um, thousands or tens of thousands or whatever. But like to be a very successful Twitter app, you need, or to be sorry, a very successful app, you need more than 5,000 downloads. And to if you're a free app, to make money, you need more people downloading it so that you can display ads and get your money that way. Or you're charging for the app and not having any ads. But then at that point, it's kind of like, there's very few people I think that would pay for a Twitter app. So right now, the one I'm using is it's for Android. It's called Phoenix, and I've been using it for years. So the pretty much like the week it came out, I I bought it. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it was like whatever 99 cents or whatever it was, and it got a lot of traction on the tech sites and stuff. So a lot of
Yeah, I
people
had
bought
it
it,
when I had my
right?
Samsung.
Yeah, and then because of that, it reached its token limit very quickly. Like within a month, it got there. So new users were not allowed to, if you downloaded it, you weren't allowed to actually sign into it, which is obviously super frustrating. So then the developer had to just take it off of the Play Store and whatever. And now with some new API changes, they're like basically stopping third-party Twitter clients from having access to stuff like push notifications. And um, a lot of the newer ones have a kind of a live stream option. So if you have it open, you don't have to hit refresh all the time. Every time there's a new tweet, it'll kind of just, make its way to the top of the list, which was great to just have if you're, plugged in all the time, because obviously that used up more battery. But now they're getting rid of that. They're getting rid of the push notifications. Um, they're not letting all those apps use the 280 character thing. So now they're, all those, like Phoenix is still stuck on the 140 characters limit. And eventually it's, just basically going to kill off all of these Twitter clients that are doing stuff that the users want. The main reason I use Phoenix is because my tweets go in chronological order.
Yeah,
And so,
which is what you want.
which is, yeah, exactly. It's the easiest way to scroll through Twitter. Um, and so, but because of all these things, like not getting push notifications and not getting, I have a few people um, that I have, like, favorited or whatever, so that when they tweet, I get a notification about it, because they're the ones that I want to make sure I don't miss in my feed. And that's going to be gone soon, and just so much other stuff. And I don't want to just start using Twitter for Android, because I'm using Twitter for iOS on my iPhone now, and I'm not going to pay for Tweetbot or I forget what the good one is for iOS. If within a month or two, I'm not even going to be able to use the features that they're like going for. But it just really sucks that Twitter, that like, it would have been so, like, they had so many people building so many great apps for Twitter, for getting their stuff out, and they're really just like handicapping them so hard, just so that people use their first party apps that objectively aren't as good, or don't have as many features. So that's my rant about why Twitter sucks. Not Twitter, just the official
Well,
Twitter apps. Twitter
it's
does suck now.
it's getting there.
It's getting there. It's definitely getting there. But
It's
like,
just
that's social media in general. Like, every app is
Mhm.
every app is being, it's like on its way to being very different than what it was when it started.
Yeah, there's some people, I can't remember where I read it, but it was kind of gave the notion that because of the algorithms and how social media has become just a rage fire waiting to happen,
Yeah.
that like personal websites are coming back,
Oh yeah.
because like you want to get your content out there and you post it on Facebook and the algorithm pushes it down, your people are not going to be able to find your stuff, right? So just keep directing them to your page. Eventually, they'll just keep going to your page, and
Yeah.
there you go. And you shut your comments off so no one can, put put ads for Viagra or insult your mother. You
Makes
know,
sense.
control the message.
But the hard part about that too is, like, it's not easy getting people to, it's a lot easier, well, easier being on a platform that everyone's already on, and people might miss your post and stuff, but at least it's there and people are looking, versus um, say starting a new web page, or starting anything new, and then being like, hey guys, come follow me over here now. And then if one person is saying, oh, come follow me on this website, and another one saying, come follow me on that website, it's a lot harder to remember where everyone is. It's basically like the whole messaging situation. Like, hey, you message me on Facebook Messenger, you like text message me, you get me on iMessage, you get me on Allo. Like, eventually you're like, hey, is there just one place where I can message all of the people? Which usually ends up being Facebook Messenger or text message, no matter how good of a feature set the other messaging apps have. Um, And like, yeah, it's nice to control the message, or like to have your own website and be like, hey guys, anytime you want to read anything that I've written, come here. But at the same time, those people are also not just completely swearing off Twitter or Facebook either, right? Because
No, because we're also going to get their Kardashian information,
well, yeah, I mean,
right?
you need it.
But like
That
you
and the
said,
royal
like
wedding.
right, bright and early for that
Yeah, not so
fun
much.
stuff. But yeah, like God forbid people, if you want to get a hold of somebody, pick up your phone and call them.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't want to do that either. I'm
I tweeted you, I sent you a Facebook message, I Instagram you, direct messaged you, and nothing.
Snapchat and then I yelled out my window, but I will not call you.
Yeah. I sent my carrier pigeon to your house and nothing.
You're gonna have to just start sending your kids with some mail. Okay, go walk over to their house. It's okay. You'll be fine.
That's why you have them, really.
Yeah, just to get messages to people because you can't
Yeah,
turn
that's right.
down kids. So
Just a crier going down with a bell.
uh,
Oh God. But yeah, let's get into some hypotheticals. So Mysterio confirmed Spider-Man 2? Is
that would
it?
be
Sure,
cool.
maybe.
I think that's a
Something different.
something different for sure. Jake Gyllenhaal, is that the person?
I think it's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's my
Or
bad.
yeah.
I think that would be cool. He was one of the coolest villains in the cartoons. I always thought. Um, Parker likes him, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's a plus. But I think it would be cool to see how they portray him. Like if he's gonna have that like fishbowl head, or if they're gonna do, if they're gonna go a different route with that.
His tank.
Yeah, fish tank. Sorry. Um, but I think that would be a very cool villain to show because then it's just something different from
Yeah,
the
it's
same
it's
the same it's the vultures and the hobgoblins and stuff like that, and Dr. Connors, like just there's
yeah, it's another one of those everyday man, with the help of some technology and special effects is able to do
serums.
that stuff rather than, yeah, I took this drug and now I'm this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a actor who's actor.
Actor. Acting.
Acting. Yeah, who just becomes a bad guy through
Yeah.
dumb luck or bad
Yeah.
luck or
That's kind of one of the reasons I really liked Vulture in Homecoming was that the motivations were kind of the same, but the way he got to being the Vulture was different.
yeah, like just a guy needing to provide for his family.
Yeah.
Tony Stark took that away from him.
That's all right. I'm on Tony's team, so Team Tony.
Well, if you think about it, though, he's kind of profiting off his own destruction.
Tony?
Yeah, well, the Avengers fight, they destroy these buildings. He
Oh
has
yeah,
his
absolutely.
company that comes and cleans it up.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm sure he's
Rich stay rich.
yeah, exactly. But yes, I'm excited to see where those rumors kind of land, uh, either for the next Spider-Man movie or the one
Beyond.
after that. Yeah.
Well, if they go that route, that's 2 of the 6 of the Sinister Six.
Right. And we got Venom starting. When's that one coming out again?
October.
October. Yeah. All right. Sinister. And then who are the other 6? Rhino? No.
It depends on the iteration. Like Doctor Octopus is one.
Yeah.
Mysterio, Vulture, like Craven was in there. Scorpion was in there.
Ooh, Scorpion. he's one
which
that I
they established
yeah
in the first in
in the
Homecoming. Yeah,
first one. Yeah, I really hope we see like a Scorpion as a villain on his
Mhm.
own, and I really hope that the next Spider-Man movie doesn't Spider-Man 3 it up and have just too many villains in
or Amazing
one movie.
Spider-Man 2 it up and have
Or
even
yeah,
more.
even more villains. Although like that's not really fair. Rhino was barely in it, and then who else was it?
So they had Electro, they introduced
And
Rhino, Green Goblin again.
Goblin, yeah.
There was that one scene that kind of set up the fact that they could have Vulture, and they had Doctor Octopus's arms.
Yeah, but that was
So
all like
yeah, all
post.
planting seeds, and
Yeah, but the actual villains themselves, it was just the two,
yes,
and then
two and a
I
half.
mean, yeah, two and like a half. Although Rhino was, eh. They
Yeah,
made the trailers made it seem like he was gonna be a huge presence, and then
like I never had a problem with that. Like the idea of just like introducing a villain as like the movie starts off and Batman or Spider-Man or whatever is like on pursuit for like a villain, and they just take him out, and then that's it. You move on. It just is like a nod to like a fan, like, oh hey, like there's was it Hydro Man, like like a lesser,
yeah,
but just
and
like,
yeah,
hey, this guy exists.
if you didn't know, you're like, oh yeah, there's just some villain that Spider-Man got.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of the Dark Knight when he takes out the Scarecrow for a second time after the first movie.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Just
fair.
like, oh hey, this guy's still around.
Not Nemo.
Not any, not in your life. And oh, you see that next November we'll have the new Bond 25.
I did not see that.
That confirmed today. Danny Boyle is directing, and yeah, next November.
So, Daniel Craig.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
For the last time, probably,
First
maybe.
time for the last time.
That's right. Last time ever in life.
When do you think they kind of stop making Bond movies?
Never.
Never.
We're living in an age of if you're not making more, we're making new versions of it.
Of the same.
Yeah. It's now Jim Bond.
Right. Bond.
Jim Bond. He's from Texas, and he drives a F-150, not an Aston Martin.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
gotta watch out for hop-ons.
that's right. And he doesn't have like gadgets. He just goes into a Walmart and buys some shotguns and some rifles, and the Q is like some guy named Quentin who works at the cash.
Yeah.
Will this be on your Walmart Rewards MasterCard? I have a coupon for that. So look for that. Jim Bond.
Jim Bond.
2022.
That'll be cool.
I'd watch it.
We have a title for it?
Not yet.
Is it a continuation after?
To be honest, I still have not finished Spectre.
Spectre.
And that came out like 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
I think I got an hour in, and then I shut her off because I was falling asleep. And then like, I'll watch this again. No, sir.
So of the Daniel Craig ones, I really enjoyed Casino Royale.
Mm-hmm.
Just the poker of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that was
Quantum of Solace.
Quantum of Solace, which I also enjoyed. And then Skyfall.
Yeah. And then Spectre.
Okay, yeah. So then I also liked Skyfall. Spectre, I don't remember. So it couldn't have been. It wasn't that memorable, but so
yeah, I think Skyfall gets a lot of credit, and a lot of people think that's like the best one. But from people I've talked to about the Bond movies, everyone goes back to Casino Royale.
For Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
I think it's. I think he did a really good job as just being a James, like he was a good James Bond in that
Yeah.
movie, whether the plot or anything else was good or bad or whatever.
Mhm.
He just did a really good job of playing James Bond. Um,
Yeah. And it's
and
also a
I
nice
think
twist too to actually show him that he gives two shits about his love interests. Like in the other movies, it was
yeah,
just love and leaving. This one he actually cared about, and that
yeah,
continued throughout the rest of the series.
exactly. And there was, yeah, because there's always callbacks
Yeah.
uh, to that, which was good. But yeah, I think I liked Casino Royale, just him as a Bond, and I think I liked Quantum of Solace and Skyfall more as like movies overall, plot
Yeah.
wise, and all that kind of stuff, because
Well,
I already knew that he was, you
yeah, he's established.
know, yeah,
Yeah, like I always consider Skyfall to be like the Dark Knight of like the series. He's like it's basically like a Batman movie,
yeah,
but with Bond.
Bond man, Bat Bond,
Bat Bond. Bond. Bat Bond.
Jim Bat Bond.
Hello, Mr. Bat Bond.
You can call me Jim.
Mr. Bat Bond is my father. Oh
uh,
God.
all right.
Jeez. Oh, we've wasted enough time, I think.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, there's some other small things, but I don't think there's much conversation behind them except for Lando. You checking it out, or are you gonna wait?
Uh yeah, that's gonna be a few weeks down the line
Yeah,
when we have a Tuesday together to go check it out. I think it's worth a cheap night at the movies for sure.
yeah. I heard it's set a Thursday record for Memorial Weekend, so which is surprising.
What was the previous movie?
Hold on, we got our statistician guy up here, um, Mr. Box Office Mojo. Solo set record $14 million, beating Pirates of the Caribbean or
Which one?
Caribbean. What do we prefer? Uh, the third one at World's End.
Yeah, like that one wasn't very good.
Yeah, 13.2 was the previous record, so beat it by less than a million.
But it's still like it's unlikely to beat Deadpool for a second, right? Deadpool's second weekend is probably still going to be more than Solo's first weekend.
Uh,
I can only imagine.
yeah, I don't know. It depends on the holdover because that one didn't really light it up on fire as they thought it would. It came in below their expectations in less than the first movie.
Oh, really?
Deadpool.
Still
It
got
was.
it's still got Avengers buff,
It's basically the same movie, just
right?
yeah.
They
Like if
just
you
kind of
whatever you thought the first, like whatever you expect it to be, it's exactly what you expect it to be.
yeah, like they took all the things that people liked in the first one and turned
Dialed
it
it up
back
to
into
11.
the
Yeah.
second. Exactly. Um, but I mean, that's the that's just what they're doing now. Like with Guardians of the Galaxy, it was the same thing.
Which
This movie,
worked.
yeah,
I find to be honest with you, I find doing that stuff with Guardians worked better in Infinity War than it did in the second one. Probably because of like the tonal shift of what that movie is supposed to be about.
yeah,
Like those guys being the comic relief, I think worked better in that movie than it did in their established second movie.
Guardians 2.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's personally.
Well, it was nice having that break of well, I mean, we'll talk about Avengers soon.
Yes,
We'll have a spoiler cast special episode
on a
sometime soon.
very special open collar.
On a very special sometime soon. Huge Avengers spoiler cast, and if you haven't seen it by now, I don't know. You should. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's great.
Or wait, because actually, I think they confirmed the Blu-ray release is like actually comes out in August and then on like VOD in July. So that's a quick turnaround, I think,
Yeah, absolutely. Actually,
which is fine. I like a pristine Blu-ray copy. Earlier the better.
at the same time, like Black Panther's still in theaters, but you can get the Blu-ray. Like they're going on week 415 or something, like
Come
4
out
months in the
February.
theater. Yeah.
For March, April, May. Yeah, so
Yeah, almost 4 months of still being in the theater, which is just a crazy run. Uh, there's no
it's
way Avengers is going to
just shy of
be.
700 million. I think they're. I wonder if they're keeping it in there just to see if
Yeah,
it hits it.
they're just doing it just to get to 700, and then being like, all right, now we're good. We can we can get this like off the out of the theaters. But yeah,
Uh,
I think Solo's going to be. I mean, we'll go in a couple of weeks when.
I said go for Solo, stay for Lando.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still, like I said, there hasn't been anything that I've read about the movie that has changed my mind on the one thing I want to see, which is how Han wins the Falcon. The
I
rest of
did
it,
hear they address the Kessel Run issue,
oh, did they?
but the
Oh,
parsecs that's addressed. That's addressed. I heard that.
I feel like at this point you got to just kind of run with it. Like it's been so long. Because they already they said the Kessel Run thing in 1977. They
Well, I think it's a
re
point of contention that parsecs is not
parsecs is
time.
it's a distance.
Yeah.
But it's also like they in Force Awakens when when Ray says, "Oh, you made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs," and then he goes back and says 12 or whatever it is. Like if they didn't fix it then, I feel like fixing it early on just makes both of those movies seem even worse. Like if he
Or
knew that parsec was a distance when he was 17 or however old he was when it happened, how is he making that mistake and then remaking it again later on?
yeah, the only way I can think of it is that the characters know, and they're going to go back and explain how that phrasing works or how they refer to it
Yeah,
works. That's the only thing I can think of.
yeah. Or
Uh,
they'll be like, oh, it's actually an alien language where parsecs is a unit of time, and for some reason, it's the only word that we use in that language, and everything else is English.
so, and so for some reason, our droids are British.
Yeah. Exactly.
So go figure. I guess lastly, quickly, you see Boba Fett movie happening? Do you care about that one at
I
all?
did see that.
Because I don't.
I don't. And I think the reason I don't care about it is because of Attack of the Clones.
Because he's a clone now.
He's a
You
clone.
ruined the mystique around him.
Exactly. And I also thought his presence in that movie was like useless in a sense.
If you're like me, you hate annoying kids in movies.
Yeah, that too. Uh, but stuff like that, like he was. It's funny too. Like he wasn't even that much of a badass in Empire.
He just looked cool.
He looked so cool, like the coolest, and he didn't do a lot.
No, I think he had that what one line, right?
He had one or two lines in Empire.
It was he's not worth anything to me dead or something like that.
Yeah,
Or he's no use to me dead. Something
yeah.
like that.
And then he has barely any lines in Jedi, and then like dies because some blind
The
guy
Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, like it's like he had a very
Yeah.
small role in
Blind Han accidentally hits him with the staff, hitting his jetpack, which shoots him into Jabba's palace like ship
floating
cruiser,
thing,
and then hits that and then falls into the Sarlacc pit.
yeah. So like
That's all she wrote.
His presence in Empire and Return of the Jedi was not not very big, but
No.
very memorable because of how
Yeah.
cool he was. It's a similar thing with General Akbar. Like everyone loves General Akbar. It's a trap. Like everyone loves that, but he doesn't do anything. He
just spins in his chair.
Yeah, he's essentially useless. He has a one just super memorable line, and that's the only reason he was in Force Awakens. Yeah, Force Awakens, and it's the only reason he was in No, not Force Awakens. It's the only reason he
Jedi,
was in
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. It was the only reason he was mentioned in the Last Jedi.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he was old in Force Awakens too. He was one like
Yeah.
there's a
But
couple
then
of the fish heads.
I think there was a reference. Oh, fish bulb. I think there was a reference to him in Rogue One.
Okay, yeah,
You know,
yeah. I think it's
it was like a throwaway line, like, "Oh, we have to get this to Akbar," but like, you know, he didn't have a. He was only in Return of the Jedi. He had one super memorable line, and he didn't do anything else. And then people were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you killed Akbar!" Like, why? So many other generals did so much more. They just
I
didn't
think
have a like fun catchphrase.
I think the problem also now with Boba Fett now is you do a movie, whether it's one or a series and stuff, and just make him a complete badass, but it doesn't change the fact that he goes out like a bitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're gonna establish all this for what? Like he's still gonna go out in the worst way possible that just tarnishes everything because it already has.
Yeah, and it's it's like if he's such a badass character, like bounty hunter, that's just so good at his job, and then he just he gets hit in the jetpack, and then that's the end of it.
Yeah. Or
That's kind
he
of
somehow gets out of the Sarlacc pit, and that's where you pick it up from.
I would watch. I probably still would
Like he's such a badass, he somehow like is able to get out,
yeah,
but that's it.
yeah, and then after
Prequels,
that,
who
like,
cares?
yeah. I mean, I'll probably still end up watching it,
But yeah, you're just not gonna go and
I'm
see it over the weekend.
I'm not gonna not see it. I won't go out of my way to see it opening weekend or anything. Just like Solo.
But Obi-Wan Kenobi movie.
I would see that. I would watch.
Watch Disney just turn everything on its head, and Obi-Wan is just about him living on Tatooine in seclusion. Just firemen and.
I did hear that Ewan McGregor would reprise that role if.
Oh yeah,
if
he said he'd do 3 of them.
He was such a good young Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'd watch his story for sure before I watch Boba Fett.
Qui-Gon.
I'm okay with the amount of Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
I have.
let's get the Trade Federation Star Wars story.
Yes,
just those
please.
no-nose guys just putting in trade embargoes and being all no-nosed.
What were they doing before Naboo?
Naboo me.
Naboo you.
That's right. All right. So I think that's it.
I think so.
Check us out on the Facebook, facebook.com/opencollarpodcast, Twitter, Instagram, opencollarpod. That's Open Collar for this week. I'm Corey Bullis. He's Vishal Sheth. Keep it casual.